Hey everyone, well, welcome to another episode of New to Weeaboo. This is number 23 for June 17th, 2020. I'm Nemesis and I'm joined by Alcatraz.
A
Yes, Pride Month continues, Wrath Month if you talk to
Wrath
certain
Month.
people.
Yes.
Things happened since the last time we recorded, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Things are happening.
Yeah, George Floyd got murdered by a cop, and he was yet another example of police murdering black people. And people protested. They're still protesting. It looks like there might actually be some positive change for once, rather than just ignore the problem and hope it goes away, or just people stop talking about it.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah,
we'll see. Part of
it's
Seattle is
still in the air.
occupied.
The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone is a thing.
Yeah, or what was someone proposed a new name for the
I
Capitol
remember,
Hill Occupational Protest, the CHOP.
Yeah, something. Yeah, that's what it was. That was the other one.
Anyway,
I still see Chaz all over the place.
Yeah, Chaz.
Yeah, that one's great. Police abandoned the precinct,
It's
leaving
gonna
it
be
unlocked
anarchy!
in hopes that they'll light it on fire and use that as an example. See how bad these are, and that never happened.
Yep.
Things are peaceful there.
Yeah.
They keep lying about it,
yeah.
but
I've heard some people definitely regurgitate those lies as well because they just
oh yeah,
believe things. But
Yep.
yeah, so Black Lives Matter and ACAB. Don't forget that.
Yep.
But we're not here to talk about those things, as important as they are.
as important they are, especially the horrible thing that our horrible president just did today.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one that affects me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a fun one, right? So anyway, we're here to talk about Bloomin' to You, an anime that actually came out, I believe, last year. Yes, last year, or 2 years ago, actually. Year and a half ago, roughly there. I had to think for a
Let's
second.
just keep
Yeah, I know. I had to think
throwing
about
out
it.
stuff, and eventually one of
Yeah.
them will be right.
Eventually. Oh, yeah, another thing, anime stuff, it's like still
Yeah.
things
Because
are the way they
remember,
are.
yes, there are a lot of protests and stuff happening, but also the pandemic is still happening as
That
well.
too.
Don't
Yep,
forget
pandemic
that.
still.
The
So yeah, if you
pandemic
do
is
go
still a thing.
protest, don't forget your mask and be careful and bring some hand sanitizer and all that stuff.
Yep, wear your mask, hand sanitizer, stuff like that.
Anyway, we're talking about Bloomin' to You, an anime that came out in 2018 based off a manga. And ostensibly, getting into not non-spoilery kind of summary, it's about two girls kind of going on a journey of self-discovery together.
That's better than I could have done without being spoilery.
Yeah. I rather liked it quite a lot actually. Also,
It was very good.
but I would also very much highly recommend reading the manga as well when you're finished watching it.
I will echo that as well.
It's one of, because it's a thing. There's a reason for that. But hopefully you'll come back and hear it after you do all that if you haven't already and you don't want to be spoiled. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and get to the actual discussion.
The spoiler stuff. So
Spoilery
yes.
discussion and stuff. So yeah, this anime is very gay.
Oh, it's very gay.
Because, well, it is Pride Month, like I said. This is, again, the limiters are off. We're no longer just implication in subtext. It's now just straight up text.
Limiters, like you ever had a limit on that.
Exactly. But yeah, it's about, let's see, the two main characters in this are Yu Koito and Toku Nanami.
Yes.
And Yu is the first year at their high school, and you got second year Toku there, and they meet, and then, well, things happen.
Things definitely happen.
Because big thing is Yu is struggling because she wants to be in love, but she seems to not be able to have those feelings.
Yeah.
She can't connect to anyone. In fact, she has a thing where a boy she became good friends with in middle school confessed to her, and she just kind of sat there like, oh, like,
This is not
nothing.
how I expected it.
There's nothing other than just confusion, I guess, from the nothing.
Yeah, it's like she had been reading romance novels and had this idea it's going to be this whole thing, and then when it happens and that wasn't it, it's like, I don't understand this.
So she just kind of seems to accept this idea that she is incapable of romance.
Yeah.
And
she desires it.
But she can't have it.
But she doesn't experience it. She doesn't get it.
Yeah. So eventually she winds up running into Toko, who second year, who like she's like super perfect. Like everyone loves her. She's always knows what to do. She's studious. She always has a plan. She's a great leader. It's like flawless.
Yep.
And all this stuff. And eventually this Toko just confesses that she's kind of falling for you, and Yu's just like, yeah.
What? It's especially interesting because just before that, she turned someone down.
Yeah, that was a
Someone
meet
confessed
was
to Toko and she turned him down, and
Yeah.
then suddenly, oh,
yeah. So it was like at first, and because Toko's just kind of talking about how she doesn't feel those things for these people, and then all these people, and then she's like, oh, you're like me. No, she's not actually.
no. Turns out, no.
Yeah, and so they kind of get involved into this weird, one-sided relationship where Toko's just like, I love you. Yeah.
That's going to be a constant through this entire episode.
Yeah.
The character named Yu.
Why you? And she's like, I'm okay with it if you don't love me back. Just let me love you. And it's like, and Yu's like, kind of like, okay, I guess.
All right,
I'll
I
roll with
guess.
it. And then that's where things kind of really kick off, because it's like, yeah, I mean, second episode they're kissing.
Yeah, right there, second episode.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of stuff going on there, because it's one of those things where the kind of all these complications kind of bloom out of everything.
Oh yeah, nice.
Nice, yeah.
They do explain. I mean, how do I start the sentence? Because I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself. But the whole
there's a lot going on with these two.
There's a lot, and I'm trying to figure out how to exactly jump into it.
There's a lot more to Toko in particular.
Right. The characters, we begin to see as things, the development of these characters as the show goes along is it's really interesting. Like you were saying, Toko and Yu's relationship, the whole one-sided, why suddenly Toko falls for Yu, the character named.
Yeah.
Just suddenly, after that first explanation of, oh, you're like me, you don't experience that. And as the whole development, as we slowly start to see why that actually made sense for Toko. When Toko was denying everyone else, she suddenly accepted Yu.
And the big thing was, because Yu kind of, after seeing, oh, Toko might be like me, she explains everything with the boy and how she hasn't even given him an answer yet, because it's been like a month since he confessed or something like that. And he's and she's explaining all these things, and so after all this and seeing, Yu just, well, she didn't have to tell her. That's just, I guess, Yu's like, I'm going to turn him down. And she sees this, and that's, I guess, when something clicks in Toko's mind about Yu. And so it's a complicated, and it turns out to be a really complicated thing going on with Toko in her head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is, she's a part of student council, and she becomes the student council president because, well, everyone loves her and everything, and it kind of...
There was a whole speech and voting process. And
there's a whole thing there.
Yu made some slight realizations there as well.
Yeah. Then there's some other characters who are very important, like Sayaka Sayaki. Sayaka Sayaki. She's the best friend Toko, and they met in high school, and they're just like always number 1 and 2 in like the grades. They're always 1 and 2 every single time. Yep. And they became best friends, and it becomes very clear Sayaka has feelings for Toko as well. Toko. That's right. Because that's the thing. It's Toko. You have to do this weird thing that you barely pronounce the U. It's almost like you're elongating the O. Toko. Yeah. Although I've heard one character also just say Toko. It's like
Toko.
But it's Toko. And there's a Seiji Maki, who he's an important character to you in a sense, because he's someone she can kind of unload some of her crap on.
Yeah, important in a different sense than other importance.
Yeah, because he's an interesting one.
Let's just explain Maki.
Yeah, Maki is because he's talking about stuff, and he's also
important.
Yeah,
but there's not a super huge amount to him.
Yeah,
But he's important. What there is super important.
Yeah, because with him, he sees you and Toko kissing once, and he's like, "Oh, they have that kind of relate. That's interesting." Because that's the thing. He's kind of a people watcher. He likes to watch other people. And that's not necessarily a bad thing per se. At least he's not, going out of his way to watch them, if you catch my drift. He just kind of, he's a person who will kind of sit there on the park bench and just kind of see how everyone else's lives are going. There's that snippet of their lives type of thing.
Yeah.
But
Maki.
But he also, here's the thing, like he kind of wound up, a lot of girls found him trustable, and like, they talk to him a lot, befriends them, and then sometimes a girl will like, oh, I'm starting to get feelings for her. He just goes, no, just no, I don't want that. I don't like the being. He's like, his whole thing is like he's for him, it's like he's watching a play or a movie, and the audience should not be part of the show.
Yeah,
and he's the audience.
Yeah, in the anime they use that as those visuals with him sitting in the theater watching it on the screen. And he turns to him, I love you, Maki. No, that's not how this is supposed to work.
And for him, he has no desire for bromance or sex or any of that. He has none of that. He is Ace and Arrow.
Yep, he's Arrow Ace. Completely.
That's no desire for any of that.
But it still really interests him, and he really likes watching. And that's one of the intriguing factors. And at first, when I first heard it, came across kind of creepy. How it was explained, oh, I just like to watch.
Sorry, what?
So you're a voyeur.
Not quite.
Not quite. He's not actually that creepy. The explanation kind of comes across with the word use, but he's not really like that. But it was kind of... Oh,
and the thing
you
is,
just like to watch.
Yeah, at one point he confronts you about her relationship with Toko, or the one she says she doesn't have, which because in her mind it's not really a relationship, because it's it's a weird,
because
it's complicated. They're basically elongated. It's complicated.
It's complicated.
And talking to him, and she finding out that he has no interest in this, she's like, "Oh, I'm like you," and he kind of, after hearing her talk for a while, was like, "You're not like me at all. You're really not like me."
Yeah, that is one of the key differences between you and Saiji. I guess if we're going to use first names. Given names, not first, whatever. Where Maki isn't interested, has no feelings of love, doesn't have any desire
romantic
for love. Yeah, romantically. He has no desire for his own in it. He understands it. He recognizes it. He understands it, but he doesn't participate.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand,
mm-hmm.
doesn't understand it, doesn't really feel it, but wants to participate.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing in of itself. There's a whole thing. I'll get into a little bit later after we can talk a little bit more about stuff. But there's some interpretations regarding you. That's for sure.
There's things I want to say, but it's like it would probably work better later on as we probably get more into it.
There's Yu has a couple friends. There's Koyomi Kano and Akari Hyuga. One's a writer. Koyomi's a writer. Akari's part of the basketball club. Akari's got her own thing. Like she's had a crush on her senpai for a while in the basketball club. Koyomi wants to be a writer. That winds up being actually important later. And so on. There's also another person in the student council called Suguru Doijima, who's a bit of a dork.
He's a bit of a dork.
Because there's a whole thing where after a while, you and Toku kind of do this thing where it's like, Toku just starts publicly calling you, because that's kind of a, just you, no honorific or anything. It's kind of a...
Yep. That's a thing in Japanese that we don't have here in the States.
The honorifics and stuff. It's basically...
We don't have honorifics and we're not formal.
Basically, the no honorific implies a very much a closeness. Not necessarily romantic, but definitely a closeness. And, or even just using the first name at all, even with an honorific, is still kind of implied to be closer than, because normally you'd be like, Nanami, for example.
Yeah, you'd use family name plus an honorific.
Yeah, so it'd be like... is
your formal and standard way of doing it.
Or something. You guys have you constantly refers to Toku as a Nanami senpai.
Yep.
And so forth and so on. And
family name, and then the honorific for my upper mentor slash upperclassmate,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, senpai is not always. Yeah, it's not
Senpai
really
can be
mentor.
also, it's
That's
basically someone who's like has
someone
seniority
who's
over someone who has seniority
has
over, but not
seniority.
does not like your boss. Because so like someone at work who's been there longer than you have, but they more or less have somewhat the same job, they can be a senpai as well.
Yeah,
It's a whole thing.
and it's not a sensei because those are your
Yeah,
teachers.
that's your teacher. Yeah.
I had a sensei.
Then at one point, they just kind of publicly start, Toko just starts saying you publicly, and they hear that and they're just talking about how we're just we got pretty close, and Toshima is just like, oh, my name's Suguro, and then that's nice, Toshima-kun. I was like, oh,
That's nice. That's
that's nice.
that's one thing that it's.
Whoa.
You can do that in English, but it's not as common in our culture.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I do really like with the honorifics is you can pull burns like that.
Yeah. There's other thing else. He kind of he got all excited when he found out when they're doing a play, and he got all excited about the fact that the lover of one of the characters is also a woman. He got all excited about that. It's gonna be a kiss scene. It's like, shut up.
Shut up.
Or he thought their teacher and a guy kind of had something going on between them, right? And he's basically getting told, shut up.
Shut up. No, they don't.
Yeah, he's just constantly.
You are oblivious. He's a dork.
Yeah.
He's a lovable dork.
So anyway, as time goes on, it's like they're part of the student council, and Toko's the student council president and everything. And she decides, I want to do the student council play for this cultural festival because that used to be a thing. I want to resurrect it. And for some reason, it stopped 7 years ago. And everyone's like, oh, I wonder why it stopped. And we find out why it stopped. Yeah.
Aww.
But she's very adamant about this for a while. Yeah, it turns out the reason is 7 years ago, her older sister was the student council president. And then her older sister got hit by a car, I believe. I think it was or something.
Car accident
of some sort.
It was a car accident because she was driving too.
Oh, might have been driving. She might have also been walking. It's kind of, I believe.
Driving. The flashback showed her taking the keys, if I remember correctly.
Maybe.
Borrowing the keys to the car.
Okay, yeah. I just remember a car accident of some sort.
Yeah.
Which way she died.
There was a flashback as she was dreaming, and it was, hey, can I borrow the keys? And left, and then, yeah.
Yeah, and then in which way she died, young Toko got kind of told by a lot of people to be like her sister, so she took it pretty literally. And she basically started acting like her sister, or at least her perception of her sister, which that's a big deal too.
That's a thing.
Yeah, so she starts acting more like her sister, so she's Miss Perfect all the time. And eventually running for student council president, becoming student council president, and now she's going to resurrect this play so she could do the thing that her sister never could, because they canceled the play because she died. It's like, doesn't feel right to try to keep going with when someone just died.
Yep. And then they never resurrected it until now.
Yeah, it was just kind of after. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And so it winds up being Koyomi there. She wrote a novel for a contest, and you wound up reading it and liking it, and finding, oh, hey, you know what? She can write the script maybe, because kind of talked to her about it. I'll use it initially against the play. Actually, her and Maki are both very against it. I believe mostly just because I don't want to perform on stage like that.
Yeah.
I mean, with you, it's like she doesn't like crowds. For her, like doing the whole speech earlier was even a bit of a nerve-wracking thing. But she winds up doing it anyway because she realizes it's kind of important.
The speech. Jeez.
God,
that was a... well, I mean, just that first scene.
Yeah.
As she walks up, and it shows, walking up and she's looking down, and then the camera pans up. Even when that happened, I stiffened. I was like, oh god. Because I have the same reaction.
No, another thing is actually
don't do that.
That's another thing really interesting. This anime several times goes in these weird first-person perspective shots for a while of you.
Yeah, it does.
That's the thing. They're going to do the school play, and the school play is about an amnesiac who wakes up in the hospital, and she winds up meeting people from her life who tell her who she is, and she gets like 3 different answers, and she doesn't know who to be. And it winds up being kind of a very heavy-handed parallel to Toko and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because as you gets to know Toko, and she starts seeing things that other people don't, she sees that Toko actually doesn't do very well in big public things. She sees she gets nervous. that she hides it really well, but she gets nervous. She sees all these things about Toko that no one else sees, and Toko starts relaxing around you and feeling like she can be herself around you. She can show all these weaknesses, although we find out also that Toko doesn't like herself very much either.
That was a scene.
Yeah.
That was a scene.
Don't fall in love with me because I can't love someone who loves something I hate.
We're just gonna bring that one up now. That was one of the things I was wanted to say earlier, but wanted to delay till we explained some things more.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why Toko latched onto you.
Yep.
Oh.
She can't love her back, so therefore.
Exactly. If you can't love me, that's a good thing because I hate myself.
Yeah, and I can't love something I hate. Yeah, so that's a whole thing.
Of a healthy relationship.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and it gets better.
They
get better.
It's definitely better. I got better.
So that's a whole thing, is like you seeing pieces. But the thing is also Sayaka, even with Toko trying to hide it, Sayaka has seen some of the stuff as well, and Sayaka's not stupid.
No, Sayaka's not stupid at
all.
she's
number 2 in the class.
I'm about to say, yeah.
And that's the whole thing, is like Sayaka's in love with Toko despite all this stuff. And because her whole thing was like she initially, like, she fell in love with this perfect version, but as she got to know her, she still kind of loved her anyway. And we see this. What's interesting is Sayaka's often antagonistic towards you, because she's kind of figured out that, well, she doesn't know the whole nature of it, but she kind of sees that something's going on between Toko and you, and she doesn't like it. Because she is supposed to be at Toko's side.
Jealousy.
Oh, yeah. We see that, like, there's several times where it's just basically, Sayaka's, like, talking to you is just basically thinly veiled back off.
Mm-hmm. And you're just like, it's not my choice.
You're kind of, it's like, Sayaka, you're a little too late on this one. You've already lost your chance.
It's like, don't get angry at you. It wasn't you's decision.
Yeah, but the other thing about this play is, like, the ending of the play was more or less going to be the amnesiac winds up going with becoming the person that her lover knew, and that's who she chose. And, like, Koyomi wrote this and, like, I don't really think this is particularly great, but I guess it works.
I'd like to change it, but I don't know what to change it to.
Yeah, that's a whole thing there about that. Yu's whole, and you kind of, that was the other thing, was episode 9, where Yu's kind of having their, oh crap, I'm actually getting feelings now.
Oh.
Yeah, because the whole time, Yu's whole, like, yeah, I don't really feel anything, but I'll just keep being there for her because she needs me and everything. And then by episode 9, she's like, it's kind of becoming very clear that Yu's fallen for Toko.
There is something here, isn't there?
Although,
yeah, and that brings back the don't fall in love with me, because how can I love someone who loves something I hate?
But I'm already
and then it's like, but this goes both ways.
Yeah, and there's also the other thing, was like by that point when Toko said that Yu's already started falling for her for sure. So Yu's kind of oh no.
Yeah, that reminded me of the whole the whole response, Yu's mental response to that.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded me of the whole don't say bad things about yourself, because don't say that you're saying that to someone I like.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Try to remember the exact phrase. Don't say mean things to yourself. That's my friend you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Oh, there's also the whole thing, or their teacher, who's also kind of the advisor for the student council, Riko Hakozaki sensei, as she keeps insisting, because they keep calling her Riko sensei.
Riko I think that
she's an important character somewhat, because there's also Miyako Kodama, who runs a cafe, and turns out Riko and Miyako, they're in a relationship. Yeah, these two women are in a relationship, and they kind of hide it because, well, unfortunately, particularly for Riko, school, if they find out she's in a relationship with another woman, she could actually, I believe, lose her job, because of how Japan still kind of works on that sort of thing, because she works with children, and she could corrupt them, quote unquote.
Yep.
So they have to keep it a secret, although Sayaka sees those too, because at one point there's a bit of a slip up, and Sayaka immediately figures it out.
Yeah, walks into the cafe, doesn't even see the kids, and just a subtle little line.
I'm back.
Welcome back, kind of a thing.
what are you doing here? Kind of
That was
almost looked a little panicked. I was like, what are you doing here?
oh crap.
Yeah, but Sayaka
Yeah.
figures it out, and eventually Miyako admits it. Because don't tell Rico. Admitted it. Don't tell Rico I admitted this to you because you're not supposed to know.
She'll get mad. Yeah. But she becomes an important advisor into relationships for them.
Yeah, but the thing about so the whole thing what I said way earlier, which says about two girls going on a journey of self-discovery together, because that's the whole thing. Her whole thing is discovering, basically, it's kind of for her discovering her sexuality.
Yes.
In a way,
we mentioned Maki's.
Yeah, her thing.
Arrow Ace.
Toko is her whole thing is kind of, I guess, learning to be herself and love herself. Because she spent years, the last 7 years, becoming her sister Rei. 7 years of this just trying to be her sister, because as far as she's concerned, she has to be like that, or else she's not good enough. And so she hates her real self as far as she's concerned.
That, and she was always saying that, she was nothing.
Yeah, I'm nothing.
I'm nothing.
If I'm not my sister, I'm nothing.
I am nothing, so I have to be my sister.
Yeah.
And then she finds out really horribly that her sister's not who she thought she was.
Because Rico brings in someone from her theater troupe who comes in to help them with their play, and she turns out he was on the student council with Toko's sister, and she asks him.
Yeah.
And and he's just like, she's kind of lazy in some ways. She kept pushing work on us all the time because she wasn't doing it herself, and she even had us do her homework for her because she forgot to do it.
Yeah.
And
which is very similar to the student council president from right before Tuoko.
Yep. Toko, yeah. And
Toko, yeah.
And Choko's just, our whole world is shattered because, like, the person I'm trying to be may not actually exist.
Yeah.
And so then what was the point of everything I've done for the last 7 years?
Yeah. God, your entire world suddenly just crumble underneath of you. That's not fun.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of leads to her kind of have a bit of a
meltdown.
It was a real quiet one, but still.
Yeah.
And you kind of eventually picking up on all this stuff, and you kind of more or less telling her what she needs to hear to a degree. Yep. Like, hey, you did all those things. You were the one who decided to be like this. That's you. You're you. It's like, yeah, you're special, and you're still special and everything. And so that's the whole thing there. Hello. And then you use a whole struggle with her sexuality.
Yeah.
I agree. That's where a lot of interpretations come in, because there's also I know we're mostly talking about just the anime portion of it.
Yeah.
The manga. Because here's the thing, the anime, when you get to the end, I don't know if you felt this, like you get to the end, like it just kind of stops.
It does. When it ended, it was like
so much
already
unresolved.
Told me that I was gonna have to read the manga, and so I already knew there was more manga stuff after this. If I didn't know that, I would have been so upset, because it's like, no,
it just stops.
No, I need more.
Like a lot of anime adaptations, they tweak things in order to, they're only going to be able to cover a chunk of the manga story, so they tweak some stuff to give it a kind of a nice conclusion, so they're not like, this one. The weird thing is, this anime, because I read the whole manga after I watched this, including the parts that the anime covered, is so faithful to the manga that they don't change that, so it just stops. It just hard stop, like all this stuff's unresolved. You growing feelings for Toko's still kind of struggling with who she is. The play's not finished, they haven't even performed it yet. Sayaka's still kind of in a weird spot. All this stuff just unresolved. No hint of being resolved.
You can see there's, stuff has just happened, and stuff has just been, like, the wounds have been opened and exposed at the end of the anime.
Mm-hmm.
But the play still hasn't happened.
Yeah, so it doesn't end so much as just
those
stop.
wounds haven't healed. They haven't resolved. They've been exposed, and everything's I think at the end of the anime, everything has been, all the major points have now been fully put on the table.
Yeah.
at that point.
Because that was one of the things was
But they were resolved.
You kind of figure out the problem with the ending of the play as well. Because like the whole play is about her. The audience doesn't know who she is before the accident. They just know her as the amnesiac, and it's like the ending just kind of discounts all of that. So this whole thing of why can't she just be who she is now?
Yep.
And that's a whole thing, and that's like, and Koyomi's like, that's it. That was the problem. I'm so angry because you figured it out, not me.
That was great.
Yeah, she does that whole thing. But yeah.
Yeah.
Then the manga itself it's more about that. We kind of get into more of the actual play. Toko finally kind of figures herself out to a degree, because like at first when finally they bring in the the new ending to the play and everything, Toko's like, I don't want to do it like this. I like the old one. Mm-hmm. Mostly because it's too uncomfortably real. And it's like, this is clearly addressing my problem, and I don't want to address my problem.
I am in this picture and I don't like it.
I'm feeling attacked.
Well, that in the original ending is her preferred way of dealing with her problems.
Yeah.
It's what she's been doing. So that's what she wants, because it would, sort of validate her existing decisions. So of course she wants the old way.
Yeah, and you is like pushing for this, and she then I remember that was the whole thing was Toko just kind of looks at Sayaka and like expecting Sayaka to just kind of be there for her, and Sayaka's like, we need to do the new one. New one's better.
We need to do the new one. New one's better.
It's Toko's just upset because you're supposed to have my back. It's like, I am having your back because you just don't want me to. You
just not this way.
I'm helping you, and it's weird because Toko even recognizes everyone's trying to help her, and she just doesn't want it because no, it's harder. The way you're doing is harder, but it's better for you in the end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're able to pull on the play and everything.
Yep. Sometimes protecting someone and doing the best thing for someone is going to hurt them a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're gonna have to hurt, and you can't just keep them coddled. Mm-hmm. Or it's just going to slowly get worse and fester. You gotta rip that bandage off.
Yeah, and the other thing is Toku's acting becomes a little too real at one point because the situation is so similar. But anyway, they do the whole play and everything, and it goes over really well to the point of hell, guess what? The person who directs the theater troupe is there as well, and she loves Toku's and acting. And it's like, I want you to be part of my theater troupe. What? Because that kind of also plays into who Toko is. It's like she never occurred to her to be an actor.
Yeah,
it just never occurred to her. And
he was like, and there was that one point. I've never done acting. I'm not really good at it. And you go, never done it.
You've been acting for 7 years.
For years.
7 years straight of acting.
Yeah, you just haven't realized that's what you've been doing.
That was a big thing for her, was her kind of moving past that. And learning, it's okay for me to not be my sister.
Yep.
It's okay.
And realizing, the whole, now what?
Yeah, because for the big thing is like, okay, I accomplished the goal. It's like a dog chasing cars. They wouldn't know what to do if they caught one.
Yep.
Except she caught the car.
She caught the car, and she's like, what now? But with the acting thing, that helped.
Yeah, and then there's a whole thing where you finally just, because Toko's kind of going on and on about how you is been great for her and everything, and you just kind of tearily says, I love you, and it's like, oh crap.
Crap.
Then she books in, and then Toko has to go off on a class trip and everything, and there's that whole thing.
The next, so then we get Sayaka's confession.
Sayaka's like, I'm going to confess now.
My turn.
Confesses.
To make things worse.
Yeah, she confesses, and Toko eventually turns her down. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of painful with Sayaka, but she at least has that closure, I guess.
Yep.
And Toko also finally, because of talking to Sayaka, finally realizes like why she had such a hang up about you loving her, and why she was wrong again. Basically, she kind of saw love as a shackle. In fact, she was kind of feeling guilty for loving you because it's a shackle. It's like, I will only love you as long as you stay exactly as you are now, not realizing everyone changes constantly. And it's kind of a weird thing. It was because with Sayaka's like, it's about trust. You're trusting them to stay a person you can love.
Even when they change.
Yeah. And Toko had to go have that, oh, I'm an idiot. And yeah, I had to contact you, and they had their big old thing. It's like, oh, hey, we're actually going to have a healthy relationship now.
It's like, Toko, you are the stupidest smart person I know. Yeah.
So you was able, because you was kind of a little freaked out over this, because like, oh, I killed it. It ruined everything. It's all over because I had to fall in love. I've ruined it. It's now I'm going to be lonely and upset forever. And then they're able to reconcile and kind of actually be girlfriends and everything.
Yep.
And Toko's kind of realizing she enjoys doing this acting thing, and a whole bunch of stuff's going on there too. It's just they eventually just kind of go forward in their life and kind of realize who they are and who they can be and all this stuff. And even the manga even ends with a little bit of a time skip to post high school.
Post high school. Yep. So they're adults now.
Yep. Toko's acting careers actually might be starting to go somewhere. They're still together. What was it you was doing? I'm trying to remember exactly. It was I enjoy college stuff now.
Yeah, college. Yeah, university college.
Yeah, stuff. Apparently her sister knows about it, although her parents don't.
Parents don't. Sister does.
Yeah, Yu's sister knows about it, and she teases her. It's like, you're like, why don't you just move in with her already? No.
No.
Yeah.
Oh man, the dream was weird.
Oh yeah.
Why is it? Use a kitchen, but it's raining.
Oh, why do we have an outdoor kitchen? Why am I dreaming about me and Toko living together? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they wind up meeting a whole bunch of people from my school, including, hey, Sayaka has a girlfriend now. That whole thing. She was able to move on and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sayaka's got some interesting stuff, because one thing was in middle school she was dating another girl, her senpai, who eventually said, sorry, we can't do this anymore. We should stop pretending and stuff. It's like,
it was just a phase.
Yeah, that whole fun thing, because that's a whole thing in the Japanese culture about the whole lesbian thing. Girls loving girls is it's kind of acceptable for a schoolgirl, but they got to grow up and eventually have a real relationship with a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's actually seen often as childish for a girl to be like, no, I don't want a relationship with a boy. I love her. And it's like, no, that's stop being a child. That's what it is. And it's messed up. It's pretty messed up. There's actually a scene where she met her old senpai in a train station and is like, oh, and the senpai's trying to apologize to her for like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for messing up things up. I hope it doesn't affect you anyway. It's like, and then kind of sees Toko and just kind of gets all latches onto her arm and everything, kind of giving the implication that they're together, even though they're not. Just to mess with
it was basically a
middle finger.
A metaphorical middle finger, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you thought you were... Oh, yeah, because, it's kind of a messed up thing. Whereas, the senpai kind of succumbed to societal pressure, and, well, Sayaka didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and she was what she was apologizing for was, I'm sorry for making you think you're a lesbian.
Yeah. That's messed up.
Yeah, and it's just like, really? And that's why, like, no, I'm not going to accept that. Screw you. I still am.
And there's a whole thing with Akari, Yu's friend, the basketball player. She wanted to do basketball, and keeps going to basketball because she has a senpai there she's kind of got a crush on. She confessed to him once, and he turned her down, saying, I just want to focus on basketball right now and all this stuff. It's like, oh, okay, I guess maybe I still have a chance later in life or something. And then it turns out, no, he's been dating someone for a while. Oh, I believe her captain for the basketball team.
Yeah,
they were dating,
something like that.
And she found out, wow, he just lied to my face. Ow.
Guys are jerks.
And then kind of something happens between her and Dojima, kind of, sort of, maybe.
Yeah, there's that one and there's a lot of teasing involved. Yeah,
because like nothing's happened between us yet. You said yet. Shut up.
Said yet.
Shut up. Yeah. So there is an NSFW chapter in the manga, but yeah, it is kind of a culmination of everything between you and Toko.
It is a culmination.
It's kind of you winds up being able to go to Toko's house when her parents aren't home, and Yep.
Come over. I can't. My parents aren't home. Not quite how that happened, but
Yeah.
it was actually Yu's idea.
Yeah, because they had a little bowling competition, and the winner gets to reward, and yeah, you won. So she's trying to think of a reward, and she figured out what she wanted. Oh, it was a weird thing. Yeah, 'cause, there's kind of a weird playing with preconceptions about relationships went on there too as well. Because this idea that we gotta be mature about this, and
Mature is what you make of it. It's like, wow, XKCD comic for everything. It's like that XKCD comic. We're the adults now.
yeah.
It's our turn to decide what that means.
Yeah. And yeah, so you as a character, her whole thing, there's multiple interpretations about this regarding her, and particularly her sexuality, because of how the anime and manga present all this, her struggle in particular about this stuff. Because it starts off with her just like, I desperately want to be in a relationship. I want to experience romance, but I can't seem to feel anything for anyone, regardless. I feel nothing in that regard. So it's like, there's that whole struggle, and then she eventually gets into a one-sided relationship with Toko, and then eventually, as time goes on, she realizes it's not so one-sided, and then they actually have a healthy two-way relationship with each other.
My interpretation of it, with my limited understanding of things, is demi.
Yeah, that's one I've kind of agree with.
Like a demi-romantic, demisexual, where you don't form a primary attraction, but the secondary you do. So you don't really feel that until you've already established.
Mm-hmm. And she had to get to know. She had to develop that emotional bond with Toko first. Then the physical attraction kicked in.
Yeah, and that seems, from what I understand, to fit with demisexual and demi-romantic for the physical sexual relationship, and the romantic one.
I'll actually go a step further and possibly demisexual lesbian.
Yeah, demisexual lesbian.
Because she formed a very emotional bond with that one boy, but she felt nothing like that for him ever. Mm-hmm. After several years, they're real close and nothing ever. But for Toko, that's a whole different thing. But
that's different.
That's one thing. Another interpretation I've seen is basically a lesbian who got so caught up in what romance should be, she didn't recognize the signs when she was starting to feel them herself.
Right.
So she was so caught up in what it should be, she wasn't really recognizing what it actually was. And there is some stuff to suggest that, including some of the lines of dialogue. You could take it as, because the way we get a lot of her Yu's internal monologue, and sometimes other characters, but we get a lot of Yu's internal monologue, and a lot of times it winds up sounding very you could interpret it as she's lying to herself. She's trying to justify why she's not feeling this way, or she shouldn't be feeling this way.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I do this for her.
Yeah.
Oh, but I do that for everyone.
Yeah.
She would justify, it's not special. I do that for everyone. There was a lot of that happened.
Yeah. You could also actually technically have both those interpretations be valid at the same time, because of, depending on how you
could be.
do this sort of thing.
I kind of like the former, because it also fits in with the title.
Yeah, Bloom
into You. Yep. Really kind of fits that whole idea of you form the romantic bond after.
Yeah.
You grow into the romantic bond.
Yeah, because there's a whole thing. I remember that, because episode 9, that was the sports festival thing where, Yu's kind of like, this can't be my heart because it's beating too fast. It's like, oh
yeah, that was a big one.
I think that was the tipping point for you.
Yeah, I think that was a tipping point. That whole, because she did kind of have that, I guess we can call it ascension moment.
Oh crap!
Watching the relay, watching Toko run, and realizing,
wow, she's pretty.
And it, like, everything else disappears, and
the
light starts streaming in. The angel chorus, those whole things start happening.
Yeah, because then you also has that thing of like, no, I can't do this. That you're feeling guilty now because now developing feelings. Like she says, she promised she would not develop. I would not develop feelings for her. She promised. Now she's betraying that. Now she's feeling guilty, and like, this is it. But she couldn't hold it in. It all worked out in the end.
It all worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Yu's confession came after the play.
Yeah, if it came before, I think Toko would not have been in a good mindset for that.
Yeah.
They both need to get to a certain point before they could get to that actual healthy relationship, I think, which is weird. It's like we call it like kind of unhealthy. It kind of was, but kind of wasn't.
Yeah, I want to kind of bring that up. It kind of was, kind of wasn't. There was some potential problems.
Mm-hmm.
The whole one-sided relationship and a term I continually hear. I take it with a bit of grain of salt because I don't trust the people I hear it from, my own parents.
Right.
But it does make sense. It's sort of a codependency.
Oh yeah.
Especially, it was more like a one-sided codependency, but where Toko's relationship towards you,
Mm-hmm.
it did really seem to be that codependent kind of a thing. I sort of. I'm not certain if it really fits that definition, but yeah, it was really she was using her.
Yeah.
to a point, not on purpose, but that doesn't really excuse it.
It's a weird.
But it also
thing.
it was weird. It was one of those. It's really good that things were resolved, because if they weren't, it would have got worse.
Man, people are complicated.
People are messy. People really are messy.
I think part of why Bloom into You is so good is it kind of avoids a lot of the pitfalls of the Yuri genre that have become a thing, the tropes. Like a lot of Yuri anymore is just largely subtext and implication, not like actual. Yeah, they're dating or anything. They're like, it's just vague. Someone has a crush on someone, but nothing really happens type stuff. You know, it's super flowery, but nothing actually happens. And this one actually goes, no, that's a thing. Here, they're together. They're it's actually kind of a refreshingly mature look at sexuality and growing up and everything compared to a lot of the stuff in the genre. And I mean, I'm not saying everything, but particularly in the mainstream of the genre. So it's kind of refreshing on that front.
It's something new, something refreshing.
Yeah, and yeah, so the manga's done. It's 100%. That's not ongoing. They finished it. There is enough manga material, just enough actually, to do a second season if they're ever going to do it from Bloom into You, because the first season is more or less roughly half of the manga.
Mm-hmm.
The second season, if there ever would be, because this did do very well. This was very popular and did very well, so it wouldn't surprise me. They haven't confirmed anything, but it would not surprise me at all if they say, yeah, we're doing second season, which would more or less probably be the second half.
The rest of the manga.
Although they might have to change some stuff to keep it not have so they don't have to air it late at night.
Yeah, that scene.
Yeah, it pushes
the
a
very
line.
Ending scene. It toes a line. In the manga, there's no features. Everything's like Barbie doll anatomy.
Yeah, but it pushes it.
It really toes that line.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, even though it is, it's NSFW. Even though it's featureless, it's NSFW. It's not porn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have that feel to it at all.
Yeah. It's somewhat tasteful.
Yes. It's
very tasteful. That's an interesting thing, which is I actually want to go check it out. There's a spin-off manga for Sayaka about how she met her girlfriend and that was mentioned in the epilogue and all that stuff. And it's currently ongoing right now, 3 volumes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm kind of interested in checking that one out. It's all same author, right? I think it's no different author, but still, apparently I'm hearing it's pretty good. Different author, same artist. If that's someone else is writing it, but same artist. Which is the other thing about the art is interesting because they have a unique feature. Like everyone has these weird elongated pupils and everything, pupils and irises, which is interesting compared to like a lot of other stuff. So it's like almost cat-like, except rounded off.
Eyes. Rounded cat eyes,
which is odd when you think about it, but it works. It's definitely unique compared to a lot of anime where it's more rounded off, but yeah. Those stuff like that. And also, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, some funny bits in there. There's lots of funny bits, lots of just goofy little scenes like we get. That's nice, Dojima-kun. That's nice. Well, just smiling. That's nice. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Use interactions with their 2 friends are pretty fun. There's a bunch of stuff. Oh, there's another friend who was that one that went because you used to be on. That was the other thing. You used to be on a softball team.
Natsuki.
Yeah, Natsuki. That's what. And Natsuki there was
Sonomura. Natsuki Sonomura.
Yeah. She shows up a couple times. Yeah, you used to be on softball, but as she pointed out, you never really got as passionate as everyone else did about it because everyone else, big loss, they'd all be, upset, and she'd be like, yeah, we lost.
Whatever.
And it's like she said, it was refreshing to see you just so passionate about something. She's actually complaining about it.
Although that name makes me curious. A Natsuki.
Natsuki, yeah.
Who's athletic.
Yeah.
Could she be buff?
Oh, no. You stop.
Could we have another buff Suki?
Oh, no. I don't think.
It is a very good anime.
Mm-hmm.
A very good manga. The characters, there was a lot of time. Like the two main characters.
Yeah. Lots of depth there.
Tons of depth.
Very, very well written. In fact, it's kind of weird how this one and Given both kind of deal with past trauma has significant influence on one half of the couple, and they need to work with those issues.
Yeah.
I did not intend that because I did not know anything about Given. I watched this before, but I never watched Given, so I had no idea. That's just an accidental, like, oh, hey, theming.
Yeah. One thing in this that really got me into the anime is just how relatable the characters are.
Oh, yeah.
Probably some of it a good thing, some of it probably not as good of a thing, but both of those two main characters, like,
yeah, even the secondary
that's a bit
character.
more relatable than I wanted it to be.
I'm in this picture, I don't like it.
Exactly.
Even the secondary characters have quite a bit of depth. Even the ones who don't do a whole lot still actually have a degree of depth I was shocked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the other thing is, you could check out the first half of the manga if you want to, but if I remember, the anime is absurdly faithful to the manga.
So it's like, if you watch the anime, you don't need to read.
The only thing, if I recall correctly, that scene where Sayaka meets her old senpai at the train station, if I recall, the manga, that scene was after the scene that was so it was like at the beginning of the episode in the anime, and then you had the other scenes. If I recall, in the manga, they were flipped around. That's pretty much the only major difference I can think of. It's like just the scene order was different.
Yeah.
But the scenes themselves were the same. Yeah, it's any which way, it's fantastic. I really, really liked it a lot, and you should too.
You should too.
So, yeah.
Final question. Best
character?
Who's your favorite? It's a tough one. They're all great.
I know. I'm going to cheat and just say both you and Toko. Nah.
Oh, you're going to cheat?
Yep, cheating super hard.
They both are. I should say no and say you have to pick. You have to pick the one.
No, I don't. I refuse.
Toko didn't have to pick, so why do I?
Exactly.
It is tough between the two. They're both great characters.
I do like you, Sass.
I think overall, my favorite would have to be the character named You.
Yeah.
It's one of those flip-flops between both very endearing and very relatable at the same time. Yeah. It's like...
She's full of sass, piss and vinegar.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
And she has no problem with it. It's like that one scene where there's Toko and you are walking home together, and Toko's just like, I want you to start calling me by my first name, and use that first, like, I'm not sure about that, because, that's kind of goes against societal, conditioning, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And because, like, Toko's, I've been calling you all the time, and then finally she just goes, Toka senpai, and Toko just starts blushing and even covering her face with her hands, like, no. It's like, I'm not going to be able to do that in public if you're going to react like that.
Stuff like that is great.
Yeah,
I love it.
Or Toko freaking out because, you's going to invite me to her room. Gay panic.
Yep, the gay. God, they both became just useless lesbians.
Towards the end, yep.
It's like towards the end, it's just like, wow.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, it's great. Great characters. It's I feel like it breaks a lot of the genre conventions.
In good ways.
In good ways. And yeah, it's just fantastic to watch and then read, because you should absolutely read the manga after you
absolutely.
watch it. And unless
you watch the anime and you're going to want more.
Yeah, unless you come out with season 2 of the anime, which does a good job also of covering the manga, then yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for this one.
I think
done.
so.
We're done with it.
We're done.
This is great.
It was.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Was.
If you did enjoy it, you could check out past and future episodes and whatnot on newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com, spelled Libsyn. You can check us out there, subscribe to the RSS feed, and check out all the other ways to find us if you'd like, because they're all there at the top bar there. There's iTunes, Google Play / Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Yeah, all those things. You can click on any of the links up there. You can search for us on any of those services as well. Find us. Just, again, subscribe. Google Plays, play.google.com/music, or it's going to be Google Podcasts, because, again, the slow switch over is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, all that stuff. It's all there if you want. You could also email us if you like to, say anything. Like, go to newtoweeaboo@gmail.com. All the questions and comments, criticisms. What do you think of this? Did you like it a lot? Do you have anime suggestions for us? If you have something that you really want us to talk about or whatever, or just think we might be interested in, or you just want to troll us and, see, gotcha, you watched something terrible.
We've already watched terrible. It won't be the first.
Nope.
We watched High School of the Dead.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad.
It's not the deep further. I can go further.
Oh, I'm aware.
I'm aware.
We are not watching Boku no Pico.
Okay.
We are not watching that.
Yeah, you can do that. You can follow us on Twitter @newtoweeaboo. You can follow us there, like, retweet. We'll try to. I'm going to try to tweet more often. You'll probably see some Black Lives Matter stuff occasionally. Probably not as often as I probably should, but I will be talking about some of that stuff. Probably, like, Out of Touch Thursdays. That's a great account.
Yeah,
because it's one of those things where people got mad because they just dared to say, "Hey, cops are bad."
Yeah.
Well, you can also follow personal Twitters. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1. He's at Alcatraz770 and an underscore at the end. Again, not tweeting so much, although I did change my avatar recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm still doing Transformers reviews. I'm probably going to be tweeting about some stuff here and there, but yeah. And that's it.
I don't tweet much.
No, he doesn't. You'll occasionally see a pony picture on his account, and that's about it.
Occasionally I'll retweet a picture, but that's about all I post.
So don't worry, he will not spam up your timeline.
I won't.
Yeah, that's it. Join us in next month. Yeah, July. We'll be talking about Promare.
Yes,
we're doing it. Finally.
Yes. Those Blu-rays showed up not too long ago.
Yep, we're finally doing it.
It's so good. It is such a good.
It's gonna be different for us because this is gonna be the first time we're talking about just a movie on this podcast.
Talking about shows, not
series.
Really a movie.
So that'll be interesting. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, we'll tune in next time, and follow that trail of fire. See you next time.
Yep.
So bye.
Bye.